On my birthday, I sat alone. My wife didn't show. When I called, she laughed without guilt. Can a single phone call unravel your entire life? Michael's birthday was supposed to be perfect. A candlelit table at Chicago's Lume, the city skyline, glittering like a promise. He pictured Sarah sweeping in, her green velvet dress catching the light, her smile making him feel like the only man in the room. But as the clock ticked past 8:47 p.m., the chairs stayed empty, the wine grew warm, and a chilling question crept in. Where was she? Heart pounding, he dialed her number, expecting excuses, maybe apologies. Instead, her laughter sliced through, sharp and cruel, followed by words that stopped his breath. I'm in Paris with your rich brother. Who was this woman he'd loved? What had she done? As betrayal coiled tighter, Michael's next move sparked a mystery that would turn the tables, leaving Sarah to face a reckoning she never saw coming. My birthday, the one day I thought family would show. I booked a private room at Lume, a rooftop spot in Chicago with floor-to-ceiling windows that made the skyline feel like part of the vibe. A table for 10, all ready, candles, steak flown in from Texas, wine older than my marriage. I arrived, in a sharp grey suit, no tie, just certainty. I'd sent invites 3 weeks earlier. My parents, my younger sister Emma, my cousin Jake, a few close friends, and of course, my wife Sarah. She was supposed to glide in wearing the green velvet, dress I got her last Valentine's. She said it made her feel like royalty. I imagined that moment all day, standing as she entered, pulling her chair, kissing her hand, her smiling like I was still her everything. But hours passed. Her seat stayed empty. The waiter refilled my wine 3 times. No one showed. At first, I figured traffic or a surprise. But by 8:47 p.m., I sat alone in a room that cost $2,000 to book. I looked foolish, fake smiling, scrolling my phone while the waiter asked, "Shall I bring the entrees?" I called Sarah. She answered on the second ring, laughing. I thought she might be tipsy. "Where are you?" I asked. Everyone bailed. She giggled. "I'm in Paris with your rich brother." Silence. It hit harder than a punch. I froze. My lips moved. No sound. Then I heard him. Nathan, my own brother. "Why bother, man?" he said, like we were joking over beers. "She'll divorce you soon anyway." Sarah laughed in the background, like I was the butt of a sitcom joke. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I hung up and checked my messages. See, Sarah didn't know this. I wasn't alone. I had my own surprise guest. 5 minutes later, I sent her a photo. Me at that candlelit table with her boss, Laura Bennett. The same woman Sarah always called too uptight to hang out. The same woman Sarah mocked for being too married to her. Job to be fun. Tonight, Laura sat beside me in Sarah's green velvet dress. She didn't pry, she didn't judge. She just clinked her wine glass against mine and said, "To new beginnings." My phone blew up. Missed calls, texts. "Michael, what the hell?" "Answer me. This isn't funny. I'm serious." I smirked, powered off my phone, and opened the damn bottle. Let her stew. Let her panic. Let her scream into her fancy Parisian pillow next to my traitor of a brother. I glanced at Laura. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. That night, for the first time in years, I felt something long lost. Power. The next morning I woke to a dozen missed calls and a flood of texts, each more desperate. "Michael, please answer. I didn't mean for you to find out like that." I was drunk. I wasn't thinking. "Let's talk." Then came the guilt trips. "You're being childish. Running off with Laura? That's low. She's using you, Michael. You're better than this." Funny how Sarah went from laughing in Paris with Nathan to fake concern in hours. That's how she operated. No remorse, just tactics. She never apologized unless it served her game, not this time. I didn't reply. Instead, I walked. Just me, a jacket, and the brisk April wind hitting my face like a wake-up call that everything I knew was now in question. The streets felt endless, the city louder, messier. My world had flipped, and I was supposed to keep moving like it hadn't. I kept replaying, searching for when it began. There were signs. I just ignored them. 3 months back, Sarah started dressing differently. Sleek dresses instead of her usual comfy sweats. Heavy perfume, nothing like her style. She used to hate sweet scents, said they made her sneeze. Suddenly, it was vanilla and amber daily. I complimented her, said she looked stunning. She smiled, but not for me. She started hitting the gym again, always late. I offered to join once. "God, Michael, can I have something for myself?" she snapped. Then the business trips. "My team needs me in Seattle. My boss is sending me to Boston." She never invited me, never asked if I'd miss her. She'd leave, return, toss her bag in the hall and say, "You didn't vacuum." I vacuumed. She didn't care. The Sarah I married was gone, replaced by someone harsher, colder, always hunting for flaws. And I was her biggest one, her fallback, her fool. Still, I believed. It was a phase. Maybe work stressed her. Maybe a quiet weekend away could fix us. I suggested it. "I can't," she said, not looking up from her tablet. Strategy retreat with the firm. Strategy retreat, sure. With my brother, Nathan, the golden child with the yacht and cocky grin. He used to bum cash from me in our 20s. Now he ran a fintech startup, lived in a lakefront mansion, and apparently stole wives for kicks. And me, I was the guy who funded Sarah's every whim, the one who supported her when she got laid off in 2020, backed her blog dreams, covered the rent when she needed more time. I was her rock until she wanted something flashier. Now she was in Paris, probably sipping rosé with Nathan, spinning a tale to make me the bad guy. But I had proof, not just feelings, hard evidence. I'd sensed something off for weeks. So, I hired a private investigator, Tom Reed, ex-detective, no nonsense. He trailed Sarah for 2 weeks, took photos, tracked her moves, and the truth slammed me like a brick. They barely hid it. Nathan picked her up from work in a silver Porsche. They checked into hotels under aliases. She wore the same wig every time. Black, wavy, tacky. I kept the photos on my phone. Didn't need them anymore, but couldn't delete them. They proved I wasn't paranoid, that I knew, that I was right. One image stuck with me. Sarah in that tacky wig, kissing Nathan outside a boutique hotel. Her face glowed with joy, pure joy. She never smiled at me like that anymore. That's when something shifted. Grief became anger. Anger became clarity. Let them have each other. Sarah thought I'd beg, crawl back, be the same predictable Michael who always forgave, always hoped. But I was done hoping. I went home, printed the photos, sealed them in an envelope, and left it on our bed. No note. She'd know. The envelope didn't stay there 12 hours. By morning, I woke to the front door slamming and Sarah's heels clicking like a war drum. She stormed into the kitchen where I was calmly brewing coffee, the machine humming louder than her voice at first. "You followed me?" she barked, slamming the envelope on the granite counter. "What's wrong with you?" I didn't blink, stirred my coffee, sipped, then looked at her with the calm of a man who'd already buried the marriage. "I wanted the truth," I said. "You weren't going to give it." She rolled her eyes, like I'd accused her of jaywalking, not cheating, with my brother. "So now what? You'll cry? Want an apology?" "Don't bother," I said. "We both know you'd lie." That hit her. Her face twitched, but she recovered. Sarah always had control, her weapon. She could shift a room's mood with a glance or a sigh. She'd used it on me for years. Not now. "You've no idea what I've dealt with, Michael," she said, arms crossed like a defiant teen. "You're dull. You're weak. You think buying gifts and paying bills makes you a husband. You stopped being exciting ages ago." There it was. The truth. She didn't want steady. She wanted thrill, power, the rush of sneaking around like a cheap thriller character. And Nathan had the flash, the cars, the ego she craved. Not because he was better, but louder. "You're right," I said, setting my cup down. I stopped being exciting. I was too busy being loyal. Her lip curled, but her eyes searched for a crack to exploit. "Don't act like a martyr," she snapped. "You're not pure. What about Laura? How long's that been going on?" I laughed. Couldn't help it. "You mean the woman who showed up to my birthday?" She flinched. Silence hit, not peaceful, but the kind that shatters lies. "Let's stop pretending we've got something to save," I said. "You're already out the door." Sarah stood, furious, exposed, no scripted lines, no crowd to charm. Just a woman caught mid-lie, dripping with ego and spite. I walked past, grabbed my keys. "Where are you going?" she asked, more confused than mad. "To breathe," I said. "Something I haven't done, around you in years." I crashed at a friend's place. No Laura, no drama, just whiskey and quiet. I stared at the ceiling, counting the moments I'd let slide. The dinners she ditched early, the kisses she dodged with. I'm just tired. The betrayal wasn't the act. It was the slow erosion of what felt real. Next morning, I returned to pack. Sarah sat on the couch, mascara smudged, staring blankly, more inconvenience than sorry. "I want the house," she said flatly. "If we're splitting, I deserve it." I nodded. "Take the house. I'll take my dignity." She blinked, like I'd struck her. I didn't explain. Went upstairs, grabbed my suitcase, and left. No scene, no pleas. Just my car's engine as I drove away from the life I thought I'd built, and the woman who burned it down. I didn't cry. Thought I would. The first night in my downtown rental, sitting on a box doubling as a table, staring at bare walls and a half-eaten burger from a corner diner. I expected tears, but none came. I wasn't sad, I was pissed. Her voice echoed, that smug laugh when she said, "I'm in Paris with your rich brother. Like my birthday, my love, my loyalty were a punchline." I recalled the small things you ignore when you're in love. How she stopped touching me unless eyes were on us. How love you sounded like an email sign-off. How her phone stayed, face down, always silent. How I had to book time to talk. Still, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I was a damn fool. It took days for word to spread. Friends called. Some acted shocked. Others admitted they'd suspected. One said, "Honestly, man, I saw her and Nathan last month at that blues bar on 8th. They didn't tell me. No one did. Everyone saw. The cracks said nothing. Because when a woman like Sarah enters a room, she owns it. And when you're married to her, people think you're the lucky one, not her. I hit the gym again, not for looks, for rage. I needed to feel pain, to break something in me so I wouldn't break someone else. It helped, kind of. Laura texted, once. "Hope you're okay. That was a wild night. Here if you need to talk." I didn't reply. Not out of anger. Laura was a moment, a spark, something real that reminded me I wasn't invisible. But I didn't want to use her. I'd had enough of that love. Then Sarah sent feelers, texts, calls, emails like "just checking in" or "hope you're okay," written like a distant coworker, not the woman who gutted me. The final straw, she showed up at my place. No heads up, just her knock on a Thursday night, holding wine and that smug smirk she used when she thought she was winning. "I've been thinking," she said. "Maybe we rushed things." I looked her over, still had the look, curves, perfume, designer scarf draped perfectly. But something was off. Her soul was ugly. "I didn't," I said. She blinked. "What?" "I didn't rush anything. You did, right into Nathan's bed." "Michael, don't be dramatic." That word, dramatic, she used it when I showed feeling, when I asked for more, when I called out truth. "You cheated," I said. "You laughed when I called on my birthday. You threw away everything, and now you want to redo. She stepped forward. We were broken before, Nathan. You know that. No, I said. You were. I was too loyal. To leave. She looked stunned, her mask cracking. Then she rolled her eyes, turned to leave, but paused. You'll never find someone like me again. I smiled. A real one. The first in weeks. I know, I said. That's the point. I closed the door, leaned against it, breath steady, but a sharp twist in my chest. Not regret, not longing, just the last of the poison leaving. It was over. Truly over. But I wasn't free. Nights were brutal, quiet enough for thoughts to creep from dark corners. I'd lie on that beat-up couch, replaying talks, moments I ignored to keep us afloat. Love makes you blind. I was top of the class. I recalled our first married year, how she'd run her fingers through my hair when I worked late, how we'd dance in the kitchen to music from her scratched phone speaker, how she'd whisper silly things into my neck and laugh until she gasped. That woman was gone before the betrayal. I just wouldn't admit it. A week passed, then two. I felt like I was climbing out of quicksand, the weight easing. I was still angry, still hurt, but there was space to breathe. Then Nathan called. I stared at the screen like it was a bomb. Of all people, he had the nerve. I let it ring twice, but on the third, something snapped. I answered. You've got 2 minutes, I said. He sighed, like I was the burden. Look, man, I didn't mean for it to happen. I laughed. You tripped into my wife. That's not fair. Neither is screwing your brother's wife in hotels while he pays her bills. Pause. He had no play, no defense. I think we both know she was already gone, he said, trying to sound rational. You two were pretending. Doesn't make it right. I know. Silence. I'm not calling to fight, he said. I'm done with her. I chuckled. She burned you too. She lied, he said, voice raw. Said she was leaving you. Said she loved me. Then last night, she was texting some investor in Miami. I checked her laptop. She's a serial liar, man. She never loved anyone. Welcome to my world, I muttered. He sounded broken, less cocky. I'm sorry, he said. For real. I'm not the one who needs to hear it. I told her I'm out. Just wanted you to know. Tough breaking up with someone else's wife. He didn't reply, just breathed like the weight was crushing him. Nathan, I said, calmer. I don't care what happens to you two. She could ruin your life, and I wouldn't blink. He trailed off. I miss my brother. I went quiet, thinking of our childhood. Bike races, sneaking to shows, Christmases, sharing bunk beds, and secrets. You killed him, I said, and hung up. That night, Sarah texted. A photo, some cheesy quote over a beach sunset. Sometimes people lose what's real chasing what's easy. No caption. I didn't reply. Blocked her number. She wasn't chasing easy. She was chasing chaos, and now she had it. I poured scotch, stepped onto the balcony. The city hummed below, alive with stories better and worse than mine. I raised my glass to no one, to endings, to freedom, to never screwing up like that again. A month later, I went to a wedding I nearly skipped. My old college buddy, Ryan, one of the few who didn't vanish when Sarah turned our life into gossip. He called, said, "Come man, you need air that doesn't reek of betrayal." So I showed up in a navy suit that hung loose, 10 pounds of stress gone since the fallout. No +1, no expectations, just me and a flask in my jacket. The ceremony was real. 2 people who meant it. The way the bride held his arm, how Ryan looked like he'd run through hell for her. My chest tightened, not jealousy, but memory. I thought I had that once. At the reception, a tap on my shoulder. I turned, froze. Her name was Kate. We had one class together, maybe sociology, something we both half-arsed. I remembered her, brunette, hazel eyes, a laugh like it belonged in a speakeasy. She used to sketch cityscapes on her notebook during lectures. Now she stood there in a red dress, holding rosé, looking like time hadn't touched her. "Wasn't sure it was you," she said. "You had that awful beard," I smirked. "And you kept calling the professor coach to screw with him," she grinned. "Still do sometimes." We talked, laughed, danced, not the polite kind, but the kind where you forget you're not supposed to feel alive. Later, outside, by the heaters, her shoes off, she sipped the last of her wine. "You look like a guy who's been through hell," she said. I nodded. "Something like that. Wife? Ex?" She didn't push, just nodded like she got it. I don't recall what we said after. It melted into ease, into something light. For the first time, I didn't feel like a walking wound. We swapped numbers. "No pressure," she said. "Text if you want someone who's not a ghost." That night, I didn't check Sarah's or Nathan's socials. Didn't care what mess they were brewing. I lay in bed, same ceiling, different, weight. I was healing, slow, messy, but real. Weeks later, I filed divorce papers. No haggling. She wanted the house, car, furniture. Fine. I didn't want her fingerprints on my life. She called after the papers arrived. I let it ring. Her voicemail. "You think this makes you noble? Be the saint. I'll move on." I deleted it halfway. That afternoon I texted Kate. We got coffee, then dinner, then walked through a park, talking about everything but pain. She didn't ask for more than I could give. Didn't try to fix me. Maybe that's why I started feeling whole. Not because of someone new, but because I stopped trying to salvage what should have burned years ago. I'd spent years propping up a life of lies and performance. Now I was building something true, even if it was just me. That was enough. Summer hit like it wanted to cleanse everything. My apartment, once stark, felt like home. I bought plants, not knowing how to care for them, but liking the life they brought to the windows. I quit drinking nightly, started cooking again, real meals, herbs, music while I worked a pan like I was chasing calm. Kate came over one night. Nothing heavy, just dinner. Tacos, wine, our playlists fighting. My jazz versus her alt-rock that sounded like wind chimes in a storm. She kicked off her shoes, curled up on my couch, talked about her job, her landlord, her plan to adopt a stray cat. It was normal, and I didn't know how much I needed normal until I had it. We didn't rush. No big promises, no ceiling wounds too fast. But she didn't treat me like I was broken either. Just a guy who got hit hard and stood up. A month later, Sarah sent a handwritten letter, like she was suddenly quaint. No apology, just 5 pages of poetic nonsense posing as regret. "You were a good man," she wrote, "but I needed more. More." That word stung like a blade. As if loyalty, stability, love were entry level. Real women needed flash, danger, more chaos. She ended with, "Maybe in another life we could have worked." I tossed it in the sink, struck a match, let it burn. I didn't tell Kate, not hiding, but some things don't need sharing. Not every ghost deserves space when someone's bringing you peace. Kate kissed me that night. No questions about readiness. And I was ready. Not fully healed, but because I wasn't kissing to keep her. I was kissing to be present. And I was. A week later, Nathan showed up at my gym. I was leaving the locker room, towel over shoulder, earbuds in. And there he was, slouched against the wall like we were still kids in some petty drama. He looked rough, hollow cheeks, eyes bagged like sleep was a stranger. His pricey jacket couldn't hide his collapse. "Michael," he said, voice low. I pulled an earbud, didn't speak. He rubbed his neck. "I lost her." I stared. "Congratulations," I said, deadpan. "She's in Miami now," he went on, unprompted. "Tried to scam some director into funding her vlog idea. Moved into his pool house 3 weeks ago. I almost laughed. Of course. I lost money, he said. Real money. She took my cards, drained accounts I stupidly shared. Cry me a river, I muttered. She said she loved me. She said that to me too, right before she used my birthday to mock everything I was. He stared at the floor. I didn't think she'd do it to me. Why not? I asked. You helped her do it to me. His eyes, wet now, met mine. I'm sorry. It didn't fix anything, but maybe he needed to say it. Maybe I needed to hear it. I forgive you, I said, surprising myself, but I don't want you in my life. He nodded. That was it. No big scene, no brotherly tears, just two men in the shadow of their own mistakes. I walked past, didn't look back. That night, Kate made dinner, lasagna, music playing. No wind chimes, just smooth jazz this time. She was learning. She poured wine, smiled, asked, "You okay?" I thought about it. The betrayal, the rage, the empty chairs at my birthday, the laughter through the phone, the photo with Laura, the fire in the sink, my brother's broken voice, how Sarah wrecked everything, and how it didn't matter now. I looked at a woman who wasn't pretending, who didn't need drama to see value. I'm better than okay, I said, and meant it. It wasn't a movie ending. No fireworks, no epiphany in the rain. Just me on the balcony, cold drink in hand, watching the city pulse below, uncaring of my chaos. I'd survived. Not just breathing, I came through fire and didn't turn bitter. That was the win. Sarah faded into rumors. Every so often, her name surfaced in gossip, still chasing clout, acting like the world owed her. She'd never find peace. She wasn't wired for it. Nathan moved to Colorado, started fresh. We haven't talked since the gym. Some breaks are too deep. But me, I started building something real. Kate and I didn't hurry. Didn't need to. I was done performing love, done with illusions. We were just two people who liked quiet mornings, real talks, long walks without forced laughter. One Sunday, we sat by the lake. She leaned on my shoulder, and I realized something simple, strong. I wasn't waiting for the next crash. I wasn't checking my back or overthinking every word, every silence. I wasn't proving my worth. I was just there, present, whole. Betrayal breaks you in ways you can't predict, but it rebuilds you sharper, cleaner, truer. If you're lucky, you don't just survive. You become someone who'd never settle for less than truth. So, if you're reading this, wherever you are in your story, hear this. If she laughed at your pain, kissed someone else while you paid the bills, mocked your loyalty like weakness, let her go. You're not the fool. You're the escape artist. And freedom, once tasted, makes everything else feel like a cage. Close the door, turn off the phone, and pop the damn bottle. You're free now. Betrayal carves wounds that teach truths no heart and wants to learn. Michael's journey through Sarah's deceit wasn't just a fight to reclaim his pride. It was a forging of a man who'd never again kneel to lies. The lesson is brutal. Love can blind, but clarity burns brighter. Sarah's laughter on his birthday, her affair with Nathan, revealed her chaos-craving soul. But Michael's triumph was in walking away, not in vengeance. His advice: don't cling to those who mock your loyalty. They're anchors, not lifelines. Build your life on truth, even if it's raw and lonely at first. Trust is sacred. Give it only to those who honor it. Pain reshapes you, but it also reveals your strength. Let go of what poisons you, not with anger, but with purpose. Freedom isn't just escape, it's the courage to live unapologetically whole, knowing your worth is non-negotiable.